we first started this, that was a big obstacle that I worried about more than Chad.
I personally think that if you don't have somebody, if you have somebody in your house that is not on your side about it, I don't think you can succeed.
No, and there was days that I wasn't on your side about it.
No, there was a lot of days that you weren't on my side about
and
it.
And
it was mainly because you couldn't see the bigger picture,
no.
And maybe I wasn't as forthcoming as maybe I should have been. For me, it's always been one of them things where I would literally create a plan and then I would execute that plan. And for you want to know the fine details of it. I just want to know the broad strokes to get me where I'm going.
And I think that's why our relationship and the business has grown like it has, is for that reason, is because of our uniqueness together. And do we fuss and fight? Absolutely.
A lot. And even today, as far as we are into it, there's still a whole lot of times when she thinks I'm out of my mind, and she doesn't say it that way, but usually it's something much broader, but that's beside the point.
Watch some of the other videos and you can see the outtakes of how I react.
But I mean, it's a bigger picture thing, and I think if you don't have anybody there to help you think it through, because you can't just talk to your associates and make them understand. If you can't have your significant other understand and tell you what you may or may not be doing right, maybe it ain't gonna work. I mean, don't you think?
Absolutely. There's been
a lot of times,
every idea that you've had, I usually you call me the negative Nancy a lot because of the fact you say I bring the negative part, but I feel like I'm just bringing the part that you're not seeing to the picture. And in this line of business that we do, there is so many obstacles. It's ever changing. The law's ever changing. People's values are changing. When we first started this, that was a big obstacle that I worried about more than Chad. Chad is a type of person, he doesn't care what anybody thinks. I did, and where we lived and where we were from, my mom knew everybody because she was part of the school system, and the business that we were going into, it was hard. It was hard to, like, how do I explain this to my family that we're going into, selling water pipes and selling hand pipes, and we're doing smoking when smoking at that point was starting to become not as big
of a deal.
Yeah, well, it was a big deal. People didn't even want you smoking cigarettes.
Well, they still don't want you smoking cigarettes.
And so that stigma was there, and that was hard. And then, we also had to think about, we had a 2-year-old daughter. And so how do we explain that? How do we explain it to the kids' parents that she plays with that, hey, we own Up and Smoke? For the longest time, Chad had a vehicle that had Up and Smoke on the front of the vehicle, and I was like, please don't pick Bella up from daycare in that. Please don't pick it up from her school in that.
Please don't pick her up in school in that. Please drive this other vehicle.
Please drive her, yeah. Because at the time, when she was little, of course now she's 16, and they think all of her friends think it's the coolest thing in the world that her daddy owns Up and Smoke. But back then that was not a cool thing, and even like friends and people that we started to come in contact with, we had to be very careful about what we said and how we said it and what exactly we did. And Chad would say I sell smoking and smoking accessories. And
I sell cigars and smoking accessories. Yeah.
My name is Hank Hill, and I sell propane and propane accessories.
And some people would get it and some people wouldn't. So back then it was I think a lot harder.
Yeah, but I think today, I think it's more accepted, and and I think that they wouldn't have those challenges that we had then. And I think that it'll just create a whole different set of challenges, because what do you do if you have school-age children and then they decide that their parents start questioning, them, hey, what your parents do? Maybe the children are embarrassed by, and then maybe, any kind of little clubs or organizations they're involved in. Sometimes you find out very quickly that just because you find this acceptable, not everyone does.
Right.
And then, you could have any business doing that. Like if you were in adult novelties or some people aren't into drinking. So if you had a liquor store, there could be a lot of things that, a lingerie store,
Yeah, I think that was probably for me, that was one of the biggest obstacles to get over. Now it's not that big of a deal because this is more of an accepting thing. So I guess if you're going into a type of business that is kind of taboo right now, well, just kind of bear with it and just, if this is something you really want to do it, because the world's ever changing and it'll probably be accepted in 5 years, because now like people that I would never think that would accept it or say they do, and it's not a big deal. So that was the biggest thing. And having to, I guess, to explain to Bella, kind of what we did and how people might look at her differently. That was another thing that people don't really quite understand, that's another part of this business.
Yeah, it's not just you, the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's everybody that's in your household, and it's going to affect them in some way. And if you was to bankrupt that business, it's going to affect them in a lot of ways.
If you want to know more about the family side of this, just hit us down below, give us some comments or email. Or if you don't want to do that and this is all you need, then just check up one of our videos up there.